sun was shining. I was laying in bed, wondering if she changed it all, if her hair was still red. Her parents said our lives together sure were gonna be rough. Never did like Mama's homemade dress, Mama's bank book wasn't big enough. But I was lying on the side of the road with rain fall on my shoes, headed out for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through. Tangled up in blue. Well, she was married when we first met, soon to be divorced. Helped her out of a jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. Drove that car as far as we could, abandoned it out west. Separated on a dark, sad night, both agreeing it was best. She turned around to look at me as I was walking away. Heard her say over my shoulder, gonna meet again someday on the avenue. Tangled up in blue. I went out to the Great North Woods. I was working as a cook for a spell, but I never did like it all that much. And one day the axe just fell. I went down to New Orleans, where I happened to be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix. And all the while I was alone, the past was close behind. Seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind, and I just grew. Oh, tangled up in blue. She was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. Just kept looking at the side of her face, and the spotlight was so clear. Later on, when the crowd thinned out to the sand, she was standing there in the back of my chair. She said, "Tell me, don't I know your name?" I muttered something underneath my breath. She studied the lines on my face. I must admit I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoes. Well, tangled up in blue. pipe. Thought you'd never say hello, she said, you look like the silent type. Then she opened up a book of poems and handed it to me, written by an Italian poet from the 13th century. And every one of them words rang true and glowed like burning coals, pouring off of every page like it was written in my soul for me to you. Well, tangled up in blue. I lived with them on Montague Street in a basement down the stairs. There was music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. Then he started into messing with slaves and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and then froze up inside. And later on, when the bottom fell out, I became withdrawn. The only thing I knew how to do was to keep on keeping on like a bird that flew, tangled up in blue. Now I'm going back again, gonna get back to her somehow. All the people we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. I don't know, they all got started, I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But me, I'm still out on the road, headed for another joint. We always saw things the same way, we just saw them from a different point of view. Tangled up in blue, tangled up in blue. Ah, tangled up in blue, blue. Oh, tangled up in blue.